Welcome to the Virginia Carolina Deer Tracks Podcast. I'm Mike Davis.
And I'm Shawn Mills.
And we're here to talk about everything real estate
and the great outdoors
in both Virginia
and North Carolina.
Thanks for tuning in. All right, everybody, welcome to another edition of the Virginia Carolina Deer Tracks Podcast. And we have a really special guest with us today, Mr. Jeb Burton. How you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Appreciate you having me on here.
Man, we appreciate you taking the time. We know how busy you are, but one of the things that we really focus on this show is, the local homegrown stuff. That's what we like to promote. So we live in a great area of the state and have all kinds of great recreational and outdoor opportunities that we like to promote. So I don't know how we can do that without talking about one of our own local heroes here. So we're certainly glad to have you on, and we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule.
Yeah, man. I appreciate y'all having me on. I don't know about hero. I'm just trying to make a living racing, and been lucky enough to be able to do some cool things on and off the racetrack. And I got my little hunting show that we do, and stay busy with that too. So it's been a heck of a ride. It definitely hadn't been easy, but I don't think anything in life is very easy. So, it's been a journey. And like I said, appreciate y'all having me on and looking forward to chatting about a bunch of different topics. I'm not sure exactly what y'all are going to cover. And so you're going to be surprising me of that. I'll give you answers.
I'm sure you'll handle it just fine. But, just to hit the highlights of how, what Jeb's life is like, just in a nutshell, Xfinity race car driver. So I know that season's getting ready to kick up. So you got to be busy with that. You got the Crossroads with the Burtons TV show going on, 6 seasons now?
Yes, sir. Yeah, I think that's correct. This year will be the 7th season, and that's been a journey, man. When I started it, I had a vision of getting it to the TV side of things, and lucky enough, the Sportsman Channel has been a great supporter of ours and taking us in, and that's been a great journey. We got a ton of partners on that side that have helped us get to this point, and we're growing it and learning. And our show is not your typical hunting show. It's not just about hunting and shooting something. We've got a conservation segment on there with my dad. We show all the different stuff with my racing going on. We show the conservation side with Dad's Foundation, and we show a little bit of hunting as well. But it's really it's really just a lifestyle show, and it's been able to kind of dive into our lives a little bit.
Yeah, it's pretty neat for sure. And if that wasn't enough, you've started a podcast here recently as well, kind of covering the same thing, kind of as the TV show.
Yes, sir.
But I really like some of the behind the scenes stuff you guys cover on that. It's pretty neat, even for a casual race fan. Pretty neat stuff that y'all talk about.
Yeah, that's been actually sitting right here. I'm actually sitting at the table right here that we do it, and it's been that's been it's growing. But really, what's been good about the podcast has been the social media side. The listeners on the podcast is still growing, but the reels and things like that of the snippets about what we're talking about have done really well. And I had my uncle and my cousin on here the other week, and that was pretty cool. And I'm trying to get my uncle to be a part of it more. I think that would be great if I could have him at the table or on a call when we're doing the podcast and have other guests come on. I really think that they've got a different side of racing, my dad and my uncle, and what they went through, and the sport has just changed completely, right? Like I spend 90% of my time working on proposals, contracts, Zoom calls, phone calls, texting. I mean, I have to be the sponsorship guy, right? I've got one guy that helps me find some deals, and I've got another guy that actually works for me full time that helps me with all of that stuff. And I'm literally chasing deals to make it happen, because I have to bring the money to the race team to go race. When my dad and uncle drove, the teams had the sponsor and they picked the driver, where now it's a little bit of that still happens, but most of the time it's the driver bringing the funding, and it's tough. Racing's expensive, and you have to find a way to make it make business sense for whatever partner you have. And been lucky to have a bunch of good ones. And yeah, man, it's a journey.
Yeah, that's one of the interesting perspectives I, listen to on the podcast because, just as a casual race fan, as dumb as it may be, but I certainly didn't realize that you had to do all of that legwork yourself. So that was really eye-opening and interesting, and made me really appreciate how hard you're getting after it, man.
It's man, it's so rewarding, but it's so frustrating it at the same time, because like if you had one more check, you could be sitting in something that you could win in
Yeah.
all the time, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing, it's so emotionally tied to it. And when a sponsor, look, I deal with it a lot. People say they're going to do one thing and they don't do it, and it puts you in a very bad spot. And it's hard to not take it personal.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet.
This is my livelihood. This is how I eat.
Right.
So it's definitely an emotional roller coaster, and very, very stressful. Everybody thinks that, man, you race, you do all that, but it's very stressful, and it's just a lot more to it than driving the race car. And then you have all that going on, and then when you get in the car and put your helmet on, you have to block all that shit out, and that's difficult sometimes to do. So racing, you got to be mentally tough, and in the physical side. The physical side, it's not like a football player. I'm not getting hit, but
Right.
What's happening is my heart rate stays from about 140 to 165 the whole race. And when it's really hot, it peaks, and I'll be 180s, 190s sometimes. It gets hot in the race car, so it's a total different thing that goes on, and a lot of people don't even understand that part of racing.
I understand. But I'll switch gears a little bit. But this is still, I learned this from the podcast. You found success with a really nice buck this year on your place here in Virginia. And I didn't realize it until I heard it on the podcast that was your biggest whitetail to date. Is that right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He was 162.
Man, so how incredible is that? You've hunted all over the country, Montana, elk hunts and Arkansas duck hunts, but to score your biggest whitetail in your own backyard, man, take us through that. Tell us that story.
Yeah, that was so it really was a 24-hour event, right? So I went up to this spot. It's a food plot. We planted oats. Whitetail Institute's one of our partners, and we planted that right there. And I have a blind there, and snuck up there with my girlfriend's son. And we went up there with my muzzleloader, and I was just going up there to shoot a doe with him and get it on camera. And if a buck came out, great, but that's not really what I was going up there for. And it was a cold front, and it was raining, and a doe came flying by, and I knew what that meant. I was like, there's something after her, obviously. So 5 minutes went by. Here comes a buck out, going right where she went, and he's running from the side, and even a big deer running from the side sometimes doesn't look that big. And
Right.
He's running, I'm like, all right, it's a 130, 140 class deer. And I'm trying to get the camera because he's only 9 years old. I'm doing that. And then he turns, and I'm like, okay, this is a great deer. I get the gun, I open the window, I got the camera. By that time, in 10 seconds, he's already 60 yards coming my way, trotting. I mean, full sprint coming. And then he gets about 40 yards, and I stopped him. I make sure the camera's on. And by that time, he still puts his head down and goes. And then I'm like, okay, so then I just videoed. I wasn't going to shoot the deer unless I could get it on video, because that's what I'm doing. And that's what I was like, I've got to the point where that's what I want to do. Is I want to get on video. I'm not going to do it. So he got by me, and I was like, dang, that was a big deer. And I looked at the footage that night. I couldn't sleep. I was like, man,
I bet.
I was like, man, that was a big deer. And I didn't know anything about the deer. Had no trail cam pictures of him. And the game camera has been there for 2 months in that field. Like, no pictures. But that went to show me, look, the game camera didn't pick him up that day because he went around it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like the first time the deer's been there. So it taught me, I already knew this, but the game camera is a tool. But just because he's not on there doesn't mean he's not there.
That's right.
That's why you want multiple cameras in different spots. So I went back the next morning, called my buddy, and look, there's no pressure. This is 180 acre track. There's people around us hunting it, but I'm not hunting this spot. No pressure. I went up there that morning. I saw 20 turkeys. I saw 8 does. I saw another 130 class 4-year-old come out, and stuff was happening. I was like, man, this is good. He should be here. Like I feel good about it. And 9 a.m., 9:30, 9:45, here he comes. Came out, just did his deal feeding. I had the muzzle loader, so he came out at 200 yards, and I don't like shooting past 120 with my muzzle loader. There's a little delay there, and the bullet drops some, and that's just what my comfort zone was. And he got about 100 yards and made a great shot, and the rest is history. But it went. Then one of my neighbors, he showed me pictures of him. He's been following the deer and about 2 miles away, but it really, just went back to, hey, if you leave a place alone, look what can happen. So, and that's my biggest buck. And where I normally do my hunting, I've put in a lot more time. I've got game cameras. I'm letting a lot more deer go. The only thing I do at this property over here is I shoot a lot of does because I haven't really seen any mature bucks. And I'm trying to make this place better. Now I've got some of the landowners beside me shooting a lot of does and not shooting the little bucks. And I think that's starting to pay off where we're seeing a lot more bucks here.
Mike
Well,
and I just
Shawn has
recently
certainly
talked
been
about-
drooling about your food plots.
Yeah. Yeah, I looked at your food plots on the aerials, man. It's something special. I'll say that.
Yeah.
And so
What
you mainly oats, clover, all Whitetail Institute.
are you looking on the like a Onyx or a Hunt Stand app?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's on Land ID, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we plant Whitetail Institute oats. We plant the Imperial Clover. Imperial Clover is great for 5 years. You just need to spray it and trim it. And then we also plant a product called No Plow. It's got a bunch of different things in it, and that's been a great product. But one thing that I'll tell you that has taken our food plots to the next level, and we had Kip Adams with the National Deer Association come down. We're good friends with him. I actually did a podcast with him last week at HCA. And that guy, I don't know if you follow him, but he is the guy. He's the guy. So he came down and he was very impressed of everything we're doing. And the biggest thing that he said that he loved to see is the edge cover. And we talk about it a lot, but the edges on our food plots is what make them, man. I mean, the deer feel safe. It's extra vegetation. It's just
Now, is it mainly switchgrass or what do you have on the outside?
It's warm season grasses.
Okay.
And what we'll do with that is we'll run fire through it, every couple of years just to keep the, poplars and little trees from growing up in it. But like we'll burn it every 2 years and put a little fire line around it and burn it. So it's not woods food plot. That's a no-go. Cause you see like a lot of this agriculture land where it's like woods and oat field, and
there's no transition area at all.
No, and it just looks like a golf course, and wildlife don't like that, and the deer don't like it. you go down these back roads sometimes and you see the deer sitting out there in that field, and they look so out of place, where if you look on our food plots, it's so what it'll be is edge, food plot, edge, food plot in one field.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We'll do like edge, food plot, and plant like corn or millet, something like that, and then another food plot. And if you have a big enough spot to do that, obviously, that's the ticket, man. That's been good. And one thing we've stopped doing to help us as well is not planting as much corn because of the bears. The bears will run all.
Yeah.
So
We got a problem. I say we got a problem. We used to not see any at all, didn't hardly exist. And it seems like I lose a lot of cameras to bears. I'll just say that. Yeah, especially
yeah,
Halifax County.
yeah, the bears are tough, and I've got some guys with Honey Pot hunting club that we work with some and do some bear hunts with dogs, and that's
I
been.
saw that one of the episodes. It was good.
Yeah, they do.
Undertaker on there. That was cool.
Yeah, they do a good job, man, and that's a way to eliminate some bears. Is
And I
the
do want to just thank you. Me and Mike as realtors, we get calls a lot of time from out of state and talking about they had no idea Virginia produced the deer and turkeys and bears that we do. And I can't tell you how often they'll bring up y'all show. And so
really
you kind of pretty much are putting Virginia on the map on that part, and we really appreciate it because it's
okay?
bringing a highlight to what we have to offer here.
That's cool, man. Sometimes I worry about some things I show. You know, there's always, and you hate to say this or be like this, but it's just it's the world. And you got bad apples out there, and there's somebody that will push the issue on a trespassing or doing something, and everybody deals with it. Y'all deal with it.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily for us, we don't really deal with it much anymore, but sometimes I worry about, like what you just said, of showing something that Dad was really paranoid about that when we first started the show. I'm kind of giving you information nobody's really heard before, but yeah, I mean, I appreciate you saying that, and we're trying, man. We're trying to show that, look, the reward isn't just the big buck. Like you and everybody on this call has shot enough wildlife. Like we it's not about boom, like it's about the story,
Yeah.
and a lot of these deer that we shoot, we've let go, we've seen them mature, but the conservation stuff and making a difference for the land, and
I
from
think one of my favorite ones y'all had was the Samson. Was the
yeah,
buck Samson, watching the whole thing about Samson, man. That's amazing to let a deer grow that big. I mean, y'all had a history on that, and that's probably my favorite episode. And
yeah,
Ward, you had shooting it. That was awesome.
that was a cool story. And we got another one actually that's going to come out this year that's even crazier. I mean, this deer, I let my buddy with Timber Creek shoot the deer, but the deer is 12 to 11 years old. Like,
Wow.
I mean, I've got his sheds. He's been avoiding us. I've been trying to kill him for 3 or 4 years. Like, I can't. He wouldn't getting pictures of him, but he just is smart, and he slipped up, and I was with him, and I let him pop him. But that's going to be a cool story to share. That that deer was that old, and he didn't really change much. He stayed pretty much the same.
Yeah, you just don't hear of bucks that old. So
No.
uh, clearly he was pretty smart to
Yeah,
survive that long.
yeah, he was pretty smart. And man, we're shooting a couple bucks a year. We're not putting a ton of pressure on them either. Like
Yeah.
and I took my girlfriend. She shot a buck. Um, I took Timber Creek guy to shoot a buck. Like I've kind of got to the point. I love seeing other people enjoy doing that. And I took my girlfriend's son. He shot his first deer this year. Like doing stuff like that is a ton of fun. for me, I think I went on 3 deer hunts for myself all year. I shot that one buck here, and then I shot a doe here with my girlfriend. She shot a doe, and then I shot another doe the last day. And the rest, I was just the guide. That's what I cameraman and the guide.
We're going to add that to your repertoire.
Yeah, there.
Well, one thing I wanted to ask you about, you mentioned your dad just a moment ago, and your dad's part of the show. He's part of the podcast, and you two really seem to have a special relationship. And what's that like? To be so close with your dad and share all those moments and stuff.
Dad and I sometimes we're too close. As sometimes like look, when you work with family,
Yeah.
sometimes it can be difficult because your filter with Shawn is a lot different than with your father. Like it's no different. Like, so it sometimes we're at each other's throats because we're right on top of each other all the time. Like, I'm telling you this, we're going tomorrow, we're traveling to SHOT Show. We're going to be there all week, and then we're going to be together for 10 days. So we're going to be on top of each other, but at the same time, it's very special that without him, I would have never been introduced to the outdoors. I've never been introduced to racing. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without my dad. So it's very cool that we've been able to build this together and be able to go do the things that I just told you. Not many people get to race for a living. He's been very, very blessed to do what he's done. And every time you talk about it to him, like on the podcast, he gets emotional about it because he's lucky to be able to do what he's done. I mean, I'm in his basement right now, and his trophies are down here, and he's done a lot. And I'm trying to follow in his footsteps.
You're doing a great job. And my wife often tells me about me and my dad bumping heads is because we're so much alike. I don't want to believe that most of the time, but the older I get, the more I see that. And so,
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
One of the other things, I was listening to one of the podcasts the other day, and y'all got into a subject a little bit, but I thought one of the things that you said was pretty profound, and you were talking about the length of the rifle season in Virginia, and you commented about how maybe you'd like to see muzzle loading go another week or so, and and personally, I agree.
yeah.
I know it's the kind of
I want
thing
to see bow
that
season come in earlier. That's what I want to see right here.
yeah, but
Yeah.
talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. I think my thought on that was, I think bow season comes in fine at the right time, but maybe you extend bow season another week, right? And push back. I just feel like the hunting pressure, just rampants when gun season comes in because, there's a lot of different hunting clubs and houndsmen that's what they look forward to. That's what they do. And that's fine. But at the same time, you have some folks that's all they do. They don't work. They don't do anything. They hunt every single day of the week and they wear it out. And I just feel like that sometimes, that's what makes it difficult. And I like the woods to be peaceful and I don't want all that going on, but that's part of the Southern heritage that is not going anywhere. And I feel like over the years that houndsmen and steel hunters have the conflict is a lot less than what it used to be. It is for us at least. We're great friends with a lot of people that hound hunt. And Dad's Foundation leases 2,500 acres to 3 different hunting clubs that hunt with hounds. So that comment really wasn't directed to houndsmen. I just think that it would be better because the deer is still moving.
Yeah.
But like I feel like it would make it a little bit more challenging as well for hunters if we had a little bit longer bow season, a little bit longer muzzleloader season before the rifle season kicked in.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was an interesting comment, and and I actually agreed with it, and but that's the first time I'd really heard anybody say it publicly, so I thought we'd visit it real briefly.
I think some people really didn't like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure,
It's
and we're not trying to be controversial.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to be controversial, and then I think in that same episode we talked about the hound stuff. And
Yeah, you did.
And I thought that, so look, a lot of people have this perspective, however you want to say it, that we're against houndsmen and hound hunting. That is completely false. And that's why I brought all that up and went through all those details that you listened to on that podcast and bring some light into those ignorant comments. And I feel like that isn't, people really don't say that. People really don't say that as much. Sorry, I had a phone call coming in, but yeah, man, it's something that I think deer season is sometimes, like, I'm kind of glad it was over with, to be honest. Like that last week, I'm ready for it to be done. I'm hoping my deer can let go, going to make it, and the deer are wore out too.
Yeah.
Like they're ran down, they're done, they're trying to eat and just trying to survive.
Yeah, I hate that they push all the doe days to the very end like that, you know. But yeah, it is what it is.
I think they're doing that because of all the things that I just said. Because when they opened it up all the time, the houndsmen were wearing them out, and they were killing too many. It wasn't illegal, but they were killing too many.
Right.
And that's why they pushed it. They pushed it and they changed it like they did.
Well, I think that makes sense. I mean, just a numbers game at that point.
Yep.
Really is. Well, I know you only got a few minutes before you got to go, but I saw where you were at the ATA. I guess it was last week. Just what was that like? Just see any cool new gear? Or?
Yeah. So ATA, man, it have y'all ever been there?
Mm-mm.
It's really cool because you get to see a lot of different products, see a lot of different people. That show isn't quite what it used to be for whatever reason. A lot of companies aren't there like they used to be. It's a lot smaller than it used to be, but it's still a great show. I'm hoping it can grow back into what it used to be. But man, it's just all kind of different things you can think of. I'll tell you, the SHOT Show now is unbelievable. You got to figure out a way to go to that.
That's in Vegas, right?
Yes, sir. It is
I've been to that before.
I mean, it's insane. It's like 300,000 square foot of floor space or something. It's nuts. You can't see it all, and it's just crazy. Anything you can think of, from a scope to a projectile. I mean, it's just things, products, and companies you never even heard of are there.
I bet it can be, that size can be a little overwhelming.
It definitely can. I've got a schedule and I've got meetings set, and I'm sticking to it. That's what I'm doing. And we're going to be there for range day on Sunday. And then Monday we got some meetings, and then the show starts on Tuesday. And I wish we could stay to Wednesday, but overbooked myself, like I said, and going to Arkansas to do that duck and goose hunt.
Man, you are on the go. Ain't no doubt about it.
We are on the go, man. We're flying to Vegas and then flying to Arkansas. So we're flying back to Charlotte.
Yeah. And, a lot of people think that sounds like a glamorous life, but, that's pretty rigorous and pretty hard work, just running all the time.
It is. My girlfriend doesn't think shit of it right now.
I can imagine.
House this morning. Little buddy was sick last night. She stayed up taking care of him, and I left the house, and I hadn't had a chance to talk to her all day. And I'm going to the house, take a shower, then I'm going to another meeting. Then I'm going duck hunting this afternoon at 3. So she doesn't think much of my schedule today. I know that.
Mm, I understand. I understand. Well, spring's right around the corner. You got big turkey plans?
Yeah, man. So, yeah, I love turkey hunting. That's funnest time. I actually caught alpha gale, and I
Oh,
think it came season. And everybody not listening or listening doesn't know what that is. That is a tick bite, and I can't eat red meat right now. But I actually just did some acupuncture stuff in my ear, and hoping I can get back to eating uh, red meat. But that's one thing that I'm concerned about is the damn ticks in turkey season. I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to get my stuff sent off to get uh, tick proof is what I'm going to try to do because the ticks are definitely out that time of year.
yeah, no
Yes,
doubt.
sir.
I'm hoping it looks like we're finally having a winter this year, and I'm hoping that will have some kind of positive effect on getting the ticks under control and maybe the mosquitoes.
I
I,
don't know. Manitoba, Canada had the worst mosquitoes I've ever seen in my life, and it sure enough was cold. So
they figure out a way to survive. That's that's for sure.
Right on. Well, Jeb, I know you got to wrap up here because, obviously you got to move on to your next meeting. Shawn, is there anything that is on your mind that you'd like to talk to Jeb about before he goes?
man, I think he covered it all. We just appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and appreciate everything you're doing for our great state.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, Shawn and Mike. And uh, what's you keeping Casey straight or what?
I don't. I think I have a better chance of scoring a 200-inch buck than keeping that boy straight.
That's
He
another two that's a lot alike.
he he's got him a pretty old girlfriend now. I see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Looks like it. Looks
Yeah,
like it. So,
yeah. You got a good boy there, and he helps the late model team we got anytime we ask him to, and he's been a good friend, and you got a good boy there. So I think a lot of kids.
well, I appreciate you saying that, and he thinks a lot of you too, Jeb. He does. So with that, I guess the last thing, just to recap where people can find you and follow you, Jeb. I know you're all over social media, but we've got the Crossroads with the Burtons TV show that's being showed on the Sportsman channel. Y'all also have a YouTube channel, right? You got the Facebook pages and Instagram pages. They can also follow just Jeb Burton, for your driving and kind of all that stuff kind of crisscrosses all over itself. Did I miss anything? Oh, there he
I
is.
appreciate you guys. Still there?
Yeah, it froze up a little bit.
All right. Well, yeah, man. I just appreciate you guys and thanks for having me on. And yeah, maybe we can do it again soon.
Yeah, man. Look
Sounds
forward
good.
to it. Thanks again, Jeb, and
Thank
good luck for your upcoming race season, man. We look forward
Thanks.
to seeing you out there.
Appreciate it.